So here we are, RiderCamTV, another video with our friends from Damrels. They supply Suzuki's, Yamahas, Hondas, whole host of second-hand bikes. Great place to come, lovely people down at Indian Queens in Cornwall, and they have allowed me to take this out. Now this is a Royal Enfield, love the Royal Enfields, and these are quite special bikes really. So this is the Meteor 350 Fireball. Had to remember then, because they do three of them. A Meteor Fireball, which is this one, a Meteor Stella, like the drink, and then a Meteor Supernova. And believe it or not, this bike, 350 single, so it's probably going to be a bit of a thumper, that's what I'm thinking, but it's not about torque and horsepower, it's about style, elegance, that lovely name, Royal Enfield, the workmanship, and the ride. And this isn't about going as fast as you can, it's about enjoying the road that you're on. So this bike would do for touring, for nipping to the shops, for just being a bit of fun, but ultimately it's a bit of a head turner, isn't it? I'm sure you'd all agree. I love the yellow around the wheels, the yellow tank, which reminds me of New York taxis. It's that colour, isn't it? And it really makes the Royal Enfield stand out, the name Royal Enfield. So we're going to take this bike out and see how we get on. We'll put the specs up on the card, up on the video, because now Honda and many makes have stopped actually making brochures, so it's all online. So it's a 350 single cylinder, bit of a thumper I think, looks really comfy, and the interesting thing about this is this bike in the UK is about, I'm sure they said about 3,999, so about £4,000. And the other two, so this is, I'd hate saying it, but this being a base model, but it's the lower end of the three. You get different tweaks on the other ones and different styling bits, but there's about £500 in between this one and the Supernova. So for all those three you've got, there's a jump of about £500. So what an affordable bit of kit, and how spectacular does that look? So we're going to go out and ride it, and there's Mr. Mark trying to look special. He is special, isn't he? So we're going to go for a bit of a ride and see what they're like. So, first things first, in comparison to my BMW, this is very, very small. Very small, and I'm really excited. And there's two dials at the front, one with a speedo and loads of bits of information there, and another one that's just got a clock. But there's something special hiding behind that, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later. So let's go and see what this bike is like. So first, very, very first impressions is there doesn't seem to be much of a distance between where I'm sat and the front of the bike. None, well, hardly any distance at all. Let's see what it's like to start. Oh, it says built with Google. Little rider and his helmet came up, then it said built with Google. We'll show you a little bit later. Right, let's see what this baby's like to ride. Oh my god, that's nice. Where's the brake? Where's the brake pedal? Oh, there we are, right ahead. So, seating position, little bit forward on this because the pegs are forward. They're not exactly where I thought they would be. There's Mark on his Royal Enfield. Let's go and see what this baby's like. I think I shall name this the Yellow Peril. Oh, I love it. I tell you what, oh my gosh. Going from first into second, that was the smoothest gear change. Oh, that was just like slipping into butter. That was really good. Oh, it may be a single, and I can certainly feel the bike working, and I can still feel that single thumping away there, but blimey, that's smooth. Brakes are good. I'll tell you what I do like is the fact that the brake lever on the right hand side is really quite big. So there's no allusion to the fact of where it is. I'm not fishing about, but it's quite a big sturdy lever, which is quite nice. Now on this bike they've got a heel and toe on the gear changer, which is quite different to anything that I've been used to actually. So it'd be interesting to see what that's like. And you do sit slightly forward than you ordinarily would with your feet. And when I pulled away on the first time that I was on the bike, pulled away, it was quite weird to think that I'd put my feet where I thought they should be, and I was totally in the wrong place. So let's get up to speed a little bit, get into this dual carriageway. Oh, nice. I can feel a tiny bit of vibrations through my feet, but I think some of that is about getting used to it being a completely different bike than I'm used to. But I tell you what, I initially came thinking that this bike, being a single, would be a real thumper. But I tell you what, I'm really pleasantly surprised that it's really smooth. Really smooth. Oh, quite enjoying this. Now you might get a bit of wind noise because, as you can imagine, it's a naked bike, so there isn't anything between me and the elements. And I said before, but having nothing between me and the elements, or us and the elements, actually on a motorbike is an amazing thing, because you actually feel the speed that you're doing. In coming weeks we're hoping to get out with the Hayabusa. Now that Hayabusa, as Hayabusa riders will know, has got an excessive amount of power, torque and everything else, but also really, really smooth. And talking to the staff at Damerels, they're saying, you know, it really is a license loser. Just a flick of the wrist, a tiny flick of the wrist, and you're doing 100 miles an hour, you know, within seconds. But my first impressions of that are they were a massive, it looks a massive, huge beast of a bike, but the people that are selling it at Damerels are saying that it's a really lovely bike to ride and smooth as you like. So looking forward to that one. But I tell you what, I am really loving this little Meteor. It's only a 350, so I don't think it's going to tick boxes for an awful lot of people, but that want to have fast bikes that are quick off the mark instantly. But I tell you what, this has got poke, and we'll put up about the horsepower and torque on the side of the video so you'll be able to see it. But we're doing 60 here now, you know, and I get the impression that this is a bike that wants to just poodle along, enjoy the ride. You can flick it about. I tell you what, it's so flickable. After coming from the adventure that I've got, which is flickable, you can certainly feel the difference in the weight of this, and there's no weight to this whatsoever. It's really, really nice, really smooth. I'm feeling a little bit, every now and then it sort of chokes itself, which is quite strange. Might be just because it's a brand spanking new bike. But every now and then it feels like it misses a beat. But, I mean, look at that. Oh, I'm real at home with this bike already. I absolutely love it. I would have one of these to go out weekends with friends, perhaps use it to go to work, but also use it as a pride of place in my garage. I mean, I think Royal Enfield has got such a good name, and certainly recently with their manufacturing processes have changed. You could argue that they have improved a great deal, I don't know, but there's certainly a massive following for Royal Enfields, and there always has been. So you're buying a little bit of nostalgia and a little bit of history, but a brand new bit of history, and I think that's quite an exciting prospect, really. And it's, I tell you what, the suspension, well, let's go through it step by step. So controls on the handlebars, really well laid out. You know exactly what it is, the labels are there, and the indicators are really easy to find. Your thumb's in the right place. Get a really nice click from them so you know that you're using that indicator. On the right hand side you've got your kill switch, your starter, hazards, so that's really, really good. No gizmos like heated grips and cruise control on this little baby, but this is about the ride, isn't it? You know, this is a different style of bike. It's It's an out there bike. Let's enjoy the bike. And do you really want to be on cruise control on this? You want to be in control of everything that it does, don't you? So having a cruise control on a bike like this might not be the I don't know, might not be something that you would really want, to be honest. I don't feel that my hands are too far apart or too close. I feel really comfortable. Now, initially when I got on the bike, the space between where I'm sat and the handlebars, it didn't seem like there was any space whatsoever. But it's such a comfy place to be. The seat is really comfortable, and it really gives, and it's kind of bouncy but not bouncy, if that makes sense. It's just comfortable. It feels like I'm sat on a memory foam bed, really nice and comfy. And the coccyx, my coccyx are right at the back of the rider seat. I don't feel cramped. My legs are in just the right position, so even though the pegs for the gears and the brakes are slightly forward for where I would expect them to be on a normal bike, actually this lends itself to be a really comfortable seating position. My knees aren't bent too much, they're bent just right. I feel like I'm in an armchair actually. The wing mirrors, they're big and round. I can see everything that I need to see. They're the right space away from my body, so yes, I know where it is. Know where my arms are, should I say, but I can also see everything I need to see around me, which is quite nice because it gives my brain some sort of perspective. I think you should be able to see some of yourself in the mirror to give you perspective as to actually where you're looking. Hello, I'm just hanging here in a place with this.
Look at it!
I know. This is the Royal Enfield Meteor Fireball. 350cc. Not a lot of torque and cc's in comparison to some of the bigger bikes. But guess how much this bike is, Mark?
Do you want me to guess?
Yeah.
Just going to tell me.
Guess.
I guess £10,000 in
No.
the UK.
£3,999.
Get behind me.
But about £4,000. About £4,000. But they do 3 models of this. They do the Meteor Fireball, which this is. The Meteor Stella. The only way I can remember that is because I drink Stella sometimes. And then the top of the range.
You're having counselling about that now, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, the first step is admitting it, isn't it, Mark? And then the top of the range is the Meteor. Oh.
Strange name for a bike.
No, what's it called? Supernova.
There you go.
Meteor Supernova. I've been practicing it over and over again because they don't make manuals anymore, so we've got to read it online and have notes and try and memorise stuff. I can't even memorise how to say memorise. Anyway, this bike, I really do like it. First impressions, looking at it, looks like a New York taxi. It's the same colour as a New York taxi, isn't
I was
it?
just thinking how deep that colour is.
How deep is your yellow?
Oh, the Royal Enfield is embossed.
Yeah, it's really lovely, isn't it?
It's a really lovely colour, that.
Now,
Mango. Would you call it mango?
no, I call it yellow.
A lady would have a name for that. It would be muted something or corn oil or something.
He's deep. You are deep, aren't you?
I'm very deep, mate.
You are deep. But first impressions of this is a single cylinder, and I thought it's going to be a real thumper. Was I surprised? This, you can feel it thumping because that's the
One cylinder.
The one cylinder, the way the engine behaves. But I tell you what, it's so smooth. The seating position, this seat is like one of these big round moulded seats.
Custom seat, is that what they call
Yeah,
them?
it almost feels like a big custom seat, and it cups your buttocks really well.
And we all know how much you like having your buttocks cupped.
Well, yeah. My coccyx was right at the back.
And at the front. Same old jokes.
Yeah. Ba-boom. But I sat in just the right place. And the seating position on this is really strange because when I first got on the bike, the seating position, it was just instantly like I've always ridden this bike. It's just one of those strange bikes. And then I went to put my foot up here and I had it, and I'm like, where's the controls? Look down and they're forward.
All right.
And so we've got the brake slightly forward.
That's like a cruiser type position,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And on the other side, Mark, I don't know whether you can
Come
see
round this
that,
way.
there's a heel and toe. So they've left it on here, heel and toe, so you can change up and down by literally just going like that. And I've never ridden with one of those before.
That is pretty cool.
And I tell you what, it was super intuitive to use.
Yeah.
I'd never realised how intuitive something like that could be, because I've seen people have had it on their bikes and thought, well, that's a bit weird. Really nice. So my leg bent in just the right way, not cramped at all. And the first thing I thought when I got on the bike was, wow, my adventure, it feels like I'm like that far away from the handlebars, even though I'm not. This is just perfect. Everything's that I can do my chicken wings when I'm riding. You know, it's just really, really good. And then we've got all the controls. So on the right hand side, and they've done something a little bit strange here, a little bit different. I kind of like it. So you've got your starter that you flick over there, or your kill switch. You've got your hazards on and off, and that's it. What more do you need?
You don't need anything else.
On the left hand side, you've got your flasher at the front, which is a little button. And then you've got like
High and low.
yeah, and you,
And a pass.
that's
You
your
even got a
pass.
pass
Yeah,
as
you've got your
well.
pass thing. How cool is that? Indicators, real nice click,
Yeah.
and then a horn. Doesn't work. Yeah, it does. It does. We're not just not going to do it because that's
No need.
that's last year's, isn't it? Now, see how big that is. The front brake
Put your
lever.
hand on it then. That's massive.
And
Are we saying that people in India have got
No,
hideously
but-
huge hands?
But haven't you noticed with some of the bikes that we've ridden, certainly the last year or so, because we haven't ridden very many with COVID, and some of the things like Hayabusas and stuff that we'll be talking about in weeks to come, how different all this feels and how that adds to the aesthetics of you riding your bike, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Without you really thinking about it, it's subliminal. And that's really good. The brakes are amazing. It does rock quite a bit, but not when you're riding. If you come to a stop, it'll rock, which took me by surprise first off. But you would think with the suspension doing that just with me sat on it, it would be like a wallery old pig to ride. But I tell you what, it was smooth. I could feel the vibration of the single thumping away throughout the bike, but it wasn't an agitated vibration that then led to vibration, numb hands, numb feet, that sort of thing. It wasn't annoying. It was a real pleasure to ride. And sat at junctions, just listening to it, it reminds me of a bike that I would imagine my granddad would have ridden, you know, and he would be riding through, you know, something like what's that, Creatures Great and Small?
Or the
Oh,
Met programme?
Yeah, where that's that sort of age where they'd be riding the bike and you'd hear the thumper coming for miles, and then it would just
Royal
trickle
Police
in. And,
motorbike.
yeah,
BSAs and the goals was an entry, weren't they?
yeah.
My dad had something like this.
And I was blown away actually, because I thought it's going to be a thumper. It's going to be a bit painful to ride.
You've got it all wrong, mate. Thumpers are awesome.
I tell you what, if I had the money, I would get something like this. Not only are you getting a brand new bike for like £4,000, and I know that's a lot of money for a lot of people, but in the scheme of bikes, it's really quite cheap for something like this. And you're getting all of this, you know, 350cc this is, hundreds of torque. It's got hundreds of torque, Mark. I'm going to have to move forward because this, the side stand
Go again.
is digging in the floor. I really do love the styling. The seat is really comfortable.
Do the handlebars? How big are the handlebars?
They're big,
All right.
yeah. But
Sorry, I distracted you.
yeah, you did. The handlebars, right distance apart. I don't feel stretched forward, back. I don't feel crunched. I don't feel they're too thin, they're too fat. I feel that the size of them is just right. And I know that you ride with those things wrapped around, don't you? I don't know what they're called on
Grip
your bike.
buddies.
Grip
'Cause
buddies.
my fingers are gone.
You are special, aren't you?
I'm very special.
But that's really nice. The wing mirrors, I tell you what, these
Wing mirrors?
wing mirrors, awesome bits of kit. Now I think you should always be able to see something of yourself in the mirror when you're looking back, as well as be as well as being able to see what's around you, because it gives you your brain a perspective of what's going on. I could see everything I wanted to see there. And then we get the controls. Now these controls are slightly different to the one that we've seen earlier.
Oh, look at that.
It's really retro, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got the speedo there with miles per hour in blue and kilometres per hour in white. And I really like that, because on some bikes you get both of it, but the kilometres per hour are so small, there's no point even having it on there. On this, I feel like you can really know what you're doing.
It's a nice colour scheme, that.
Yeah, really pastel-y colour, but stands out. And then in the centre you've got your digital readout with your time, your fuel gauge, odometer, and what gear you're in.
There you go.
How amazing is that? Then on the right-hand
And
side...
that's also a fuel gauge as well.
Yeah, fuel gauge there.
There you go.
And then on the right-hand side, you've got this funky little
that?
gibbon.
Funky little gibbon.
Yeah, funky little screen that when you turn it on... Come back.
I'm coming back.
When you turn it on, it has the Royal Enfield logo, little person with a bike, built with Google, the version number, and then the time. And, like on the Himalayan that you looked at, Mark, you can Bluetooth to it, use Google Maps, and then it will send you turn-by-turn instructions.
That's amazing. Headlamp, what's the headlamp like?
It's round.
Oh, hey.
What? It's got a lovely LED ring there, and it's got a bulb in the middle. These are bulbs for the indicators, but doesn't that look cool?
Looks really nice, that.
And
Almost like BMW-ish. On their cars, you know, they have them.
yeah, it does. Almost looks like BMW. They are metal, I think.
Yeah, no.
They are metal. Lovely light on the back. That's LED. And you've got indicators with your bulbs on there. I love the style of this bike. The seat is really comfy. You've got a pillion seat, but you've also got a grab rail there as well, so you can strap luggage on it as well.
Do you know that mudguard? You're not going to get any water off that at all, are you?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And if you come around the side,
Coming round.
the engine obviously isn't very big, is it, in comparison to some of the bikes that we've been riding. But it's big enough for the bike, but lots of it is all encased. So you're not going to spend hours and hours trying to dig cleaners in and out, trying to clean stuff. It's going to be quite an easy bike to clean. I love the fact that the exhaust comes all the way back down. It just looks as though it's moving forward, doesn't it? It's just lovely.
Really, it looks like a cruiser.
Yeah.
But, you know, in another video we took a scrambler out, didn't we, in another one. And the scrambler in my head was similar to that, and I hated that.
Yeah, you didn't like that, did you?
Not at all. Got slagged off for it, but I hated it.
Yeah. But this,
Really nice.
and I like these yellow bits on here because that really breaks up the black, but really fits
I
in.
wonder if they're reflective as well.
Now I have named this bike.
Okay, Derek.
The Yellow Peril. And I tell you what, if I had the money to buy something as sounds blasé to say about having a spare bike, doesn't it? If I bought a bike for a run around that I just wanted to poodle and just not teach people, not do stuff, but just to be able to just go and ride with my mates for an afternoon and just enjoy wearing those, you know, like those goggles and a backwards hat and, you know, all the stuff that you feel...
You got special websites for that, mate.
Oh, yeah, but wearing all the stuff that you would expect.
My dad, when he had old Enfields, when I was a really small tacker, he used to have the old fighter pilot goggles. But they were like worst Second World War fighter pilots goggles.
See,
I had a pair now.
if I had a bike like this, that's the sort of thing that I'd look to wear. You know, and nice jeans, nice riding boots, nice leather jacket.
Stirrups.
Don't know, pushing it a little bit. But do you know, this bike, I absolutely loved it. And I know that we say this quite a bit, don't we? Because we get the chance to ride lots and lots of bikes. But my perception of this would be a real bad thumping, vibrating, horrible mess of metal. And then I got on it.
What does it sound like?
And it's just, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Stand clear of the afterburners.
Stand clear of the afterburners. See, it doesn't say neutral on here. It has an N, but if you do the gear selector and put it in neutral, it says 0.
Oh, wow.
can obviously see that it's vibrating, but you'd expect a thumper to be vibrating an awful lot more than that, wouldn't you?
Only
It's just sublime. Yellow Peril is sublime.
Because it's just a single cylinder, you can hear it breathing. It's like poof, poof, poof,
Yeah.
poof, poof. It's like a bass beat. Subwoofer. It's got its own subwoofer.
A subwoofer. But I love it. You know, and isn't it strange that on bigger, more expensive bikes, you don't get things that you get on, saying cheaper would be wrong, but cheaper because you're spending less money. You get a centre stand and a side stand for this. You get the heel and toe on it. You get a different seating position. I tell you what, I would be really happy to have one of these and go touring, use it to go to work, just use it. Like today has been 26 degrees. Can you get that in Cornwall? 26 degrees.
No way.
Blazing hot sunshine, and I'm riding along on this with a massive smile on my face thinking, it feels like I should be in the Yorkshire Dales wearing tweed, just riding along with my picnic basket. And I know that's very stereotypical, but that's where it put me. It put me in a different place of enjoyment that I've ever had from a bike.
Next time I go to Yorkshire, I'm going to be looking out for motorcyclists in tweed with picnic baskets.
Yeah, and I know that's very.
See a photograph of one.
I know that's very stereotypical, but isn't it strange how you can ride lots of different bikes, and it's like music. They all put you in a different place and make you think of something different. And this bike's been the first bike that I've ridden and reviewed that has actually made me think I'd like to just have a different load of kit on and go off and make my trip to go for a picnic on my bike.
You know, in England, the gentleman's ride.
Yeah,
the gentleman's
I would do that. I would do that with this on.
It's a nice bike though.
Yeah. So Royal Enfield, all done in the style of Royal Enfield by Royal Enfield, in a way that's brought it into the 21st century, and I love it. Can we not take it back?
It's yellow, you mate. You'd get somebody to spot you straight away, wouldn't you?
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Anyway, enough of me rambling because I could go on forever because I just love it. If you like the video, give it a massive thumbs up, hit that subscription button. Throughout the video there would have been all the specs on it because they don't do it in paper form anymore. And we'll catch you in the next video.